From Farrington Field in Fort Worth, it's time for City Video 45's High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ron Barr, along with Paul Melton. And Paul, last week, Western Hills put it to Pascal's chin 42-6 and went and improved their record to an even 2-0 now in the 7-5A. Eastern Hills kind of kissed their sister last week, tied with Wyatt 6-6. They're also now tied with Wyatt in district 1-1-1. And tonight could be a battle of the Hills as they battle for a playoff spot here in 7-5A.
As you said, Ron, the annual Battle of the Hills, and a little more incentive in this one. Both these teams going for sole possession of second place here in the District 7-5A. Both teams coming off outstanding defensive performances last week. Both teams give up 6 points to Pascal and Wyatt, respectively. But it was Wyatt only getting 6 points on the board offensively, despite an outstanding offensive performance by running back Willie Shepard, who had 223 yards rushing.
Out of what, 271 or something like that
yeah,
for the whole school?
He was the whole offense last week, but just couldn't get those points. So, you know, not getting done what they had to, but did come away with a tie and are now actually in third place. But a victory tonight over Western Hills would put them in second place. And if the standings stay like this, well, of course, under the new UIL playoff system, these two teams and Dunbar would be the teams with the best chance right now of going to the playoffs.
Well, actually, Dunbar is in the driver's seat. They're 3-0 in district play right now after the impressive win last week. And then we got Western Hills, Eastern Hills, Wyatt, Southwest, Trimble Tech. Terrible season this year. They're 0-6 total, 0-2 in district play. And Pascal, 1-5. At least Pascal's won a game overall. They're one better than Trimble Tech is this year. They're defending 5A champs for this district. But it's going to be an interesting battle tonight because you've got a backfield, very talented Western Hills, numerous players in the backfield versus one man for Eastern Hills, the one-man show in Willie Shepard.
Yeah, that the Western Hills offense, as we mentioned, didn't get to elaborate on that a little earlier, but in their 42-6 victory over Pascal, racked up 400 and almost 450 yards offensively, and had two running backs go over the 100 yards, actually four go over the 90 yards rushing mark in that game last week. Monte Credell, Ron Hawkins, Pascal Freeman, all with good rushing performances as part of that 450-yard performance offensively for the Cougars.
Well, the Cougars had a number of players that, like you said, that were over 80 yards total rushing, and that's impressive in and of itself simply because what an offensive attack Western Hills has coming into the game this evening. One little change they're going to make as far as talking to Coach Walter Miller tonight. He's going to start in the flanker spot, I should say. Is going to go ahead and not start Don Lanier tonight, but go ahead and make a little change in the lineup itself as he's going to go ahead and make some offensive changes in the running back situation. He's got Classical Freeman, obviously, and Tony Blanco and Curtis Peterson, Derek Middlebrook, Marcus Hudson, Montague Credell. Ron Hawkins is going to be the one that's going to start in place of Don Lanier tonight. Don's not playing, not suited up, as a matter of fact, so we'll look for a change there. So that'll be something to look at. But with all those offensive weapons in the backfield, I mean, make a change and you're still going to throw not the least bit of suspicion as far as the coaching staff of Eastern Hills is concerned.
Well, perhaps Walter Miller made up his mind last week after that 42-6 victory over Pascal. Ron Hawkins, sophomore, rushed for 123 yards on 9 carries, plus had 3 of the touchdowns.
Well, Ron Hawkins, here's the players we had 90 yards or better last week. Ron Hawkins had 107 yards, Montague Credell 107. Classical Freeman had 95, Jesse Haynes had 90, and 86 yards for Don Lanier. And with all of those kudos, Coach Miller said Tinifree Jackson did a great job of reading the option, so even he had some kudos. And to take it right back, Jesse Haynes had 8 tackles last week, so he had a good night himself, and nonetheless, Western Hills coming away with a nice victory, and they're in the driver's seat for second place as of this evening anyway.
Well, Haynes, as you said, had quite a performance both ways on offense and defense last week. Gary Turner for Eastern Hills, also a two-way starter. We'll get a good look at him tonight. He's a big part of the offense and the defense, as we said, but offensively for Eastern Hill, he's got 4.5 speed and just a great target for quarterback Chance McCarty to go to. In fact, had the 1 touchdown last week in their 6-6 tie against Wyatt, a 32-yard pass from McCarty to Gary Turner, attributed to Eastern Hills' only score of the game.
We'll take a look at Eastern Hills' starting lineup as the Eastern Hills unit is being brought in tonight. We'll take a look at the for Coach Roland Macklin as the Highlanders come in. At the split end position, Ben Young, number 8, will be starting out tonight. He's a junior in that position. The tackles, Michael Fielding and Richard Quezada, and the center, Colby Cagle. And the tight end, Chris Foster, in the probable starting spots as you take a look at Fielding, Lerman, Green, Quezada, Colby. That's the offensive line for Eastern Hills. The quarterback, Chance McCarty. And, of course, his big man in the backfield, number 34, Willie Shepard. Also, some of the other ones that we have as far as the backfield, Zach Williams, Ambrose Coleman, Aaron Young, Calvin Brewer, John Tanksley. The flanker position, Gary Turner. And his backup is Alton Braxton. For the Western Hills offensively, as their team is being introduced right now. At the split end position, Andre Crosby. The tackles offensively, Darren Thomas, and we're taking a look at the offensive backfield. Tinifree Jackson. Tinifree Jackson is the quarterback. Montague Cradell, of course, like we said, Don Lanier not starting tonight. Ron Hawkins will be in his place. He'll be number 27. Tony Blanco, Andre Crosby, and Brian Tabor. And again, some of the names that you don't see there, but that had those big yards, Jesse Haynes and Classical Freeman. So watch for those numbers to be called tonight as well.
What a job Tinifree Jackson has done coming in this year for the graduated Johnny High, and coming in here with just sophomore experience in his junior year this year, and has just run that Western Hills Wishbone offense perfectly. Coach Walter Miller couldn't have expected any more from what Tinifree Jackson has done this year for the Cougars.
The offensive line for the Cougars, we'll go ahead and give you the probable starting. Darren Thomas, and Matt Johnson, the starting tackles. Young Coe and Bobby Moody, the starting guards. Luke Moore, the center. Tight end Brian Tabor, in the split end Andre Crosby, but he splits out with Cedric Shores and brings the plays in. Tinifree Jackson, the quarterback, and the backfield of Montague Cradell, Marcus Hudson, Derek Middlebrook, Curtis Peterson, Tony Blanco, Classical Freeman. And again, taking a look at Jesse Haynes, another one that might very well come into play as far as watching what he does tonight. Defensively, the Cougars defense, Cujo, the Mad Dog defense. On the line for them, David Hackworth, Joey Schneider, Ryan Thomason, and Eddie Garner from left to right. In the linebacker positions, Jesse Haynes, Frank Sullivan, Curtis Peterson, and Cedric Bryant. Free safety positions, Fred Newsom. In the right corner is Ron Hawkins. And you see the defensive starters right there.